I want to bring in Seth Harris, former acting U.S. Labor Secretary under President Barack Obama. Seth, it's great seeing you. I thank you for being with us. This isn't a strike in just one industry. More than 320,000 workers have walked off a job this year. Why is this movement growing?
Well, let me start by saying happy Labor Day to you, José, and the other folks at MSNBC who are working today. I think we're seeing rising worker activism across the United States because workers are feeling powerful, because the economy has produced tight labor markets. And also we've seen a rising worker militancy, workers demanding their fair share of corporate profits. Corporations have been making money hand over fist, especially during the pandemic, and workers want their fair share. That's a big part of the strike in Hollywood. That's a big part of what the UAW is fighting about. It's a big part of what the Teamsters fought for in their negotiations with UPS and ultimately won.
And Seth, the impact of the unions is also growing, but also the membership is growing.
Absolutely right. The last year we saw a more than 250,000 member increase in union membership in the United States. The first half of this year we saw more union members vote, more workers vote to win a union through the National Labor Relations Board. We're seeing union growth in a lot of other areas as well. I think that we are going to see another meaningful increase in union membership in the United States in 2023. It's interesting that the increase in strikes is not turning workers off to unions. In fact, unions have widespread support throughout the economy, particularly among young workers. More than 80% of young Americans strongly support unions and would like to be in a union themselves. So I think that activism and militancy is increasing the appeal of the labor movement. And that's a real warning shot to corporate America that they need to sit at the bargaining table and negotiate with these unions and give them a fair deal.
Yeah, I mean, earlier this morning, President Biden was asked about the possibility of a United Auto Workers strike. Take a listen to his response, if you would, Seth. So what would you say to people who aren't striking but are impacted by the strikes?
Well, I've been very favorably impressed by the level of support that other workers have been giving to the striking unions. So, for example, in Hollywood, the theatrical and stage employees, the Teamsters, others have been lending very strong support, have been walking picket alongside the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA. A lot of unions expressed their very, very strong support for the Teamsters in their negotiations with UPS. We see support for Starbucks workers and Amazon workers and the UAW as well. Strikes are painful. Strikes are very difficult. No union and no group of workers wants to go out on strike. But if that's the only way they can improve the quality of their lives, if management is so intransigent that they won't cut workers in on a fair share of their profits, then sometimes strikes are necessary. And it's, democracy can be an ugly thing. It can be a difficult and painful and messy thing. That's what we're experiencing. This is workplace democracy in action. And unfortunately, there are workers that get hurt. The strikers get hurt. Others get hurt. But I think in the long run, they're all going to be better off if they can get corporations to come to the table and bargain a fair deal.
Former Labor Secretary Seth Harris, I thank you so much for being with us this morning. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jose.